Hello and welcome to Better Gaming, an event and podcast series dedicated to all aspects of ethical gambling as we seek to discuss how to make gambling and gaming safe, secure and socially balanced for everyone. My name's Jim and I'm the host of the show, and in this quick video I'm going to look at a news article which caught my eye. Now, normally the news articles fill up my inbox through Google Alerts and the 50 to 60 odd terms that I've got scouring the internet for any news releases regarding ethical gambling or healthy gambling or responsible, safer play. But in this instance, it was my subscription to Popbitch, which is a celebrity gossip newsletter. So it was two worlds colliding in this instance. And they featured a story about 8xBet. I then Googled it to find a more in-depth article, and that's what we're going to discuss today. It's a worrying story, and it's one where you start looking at it and you realize that it doesn't operate in isolation. This is a repeating pattern, and Man City are not alone, which is worrying and concerning in equal measure. So let's have a look at this. So in the fast-paced world of online gambling, brands rise and fall with alarming frequency, but few vanish as abruptly as 8xBet. And it discusses the partnership that 8xBet announced in 2022 with Manchester City, whereby let's just move this down, whereby they were named as the official Asian betting partner. And as commonly done with these commercial deals, they then signed up an ambassador. And in this instance, even though he's Man United and this was a Man City deal, they went with Teddy Sheringham, who endorsed the deal and bolstered the credibility amongst football fans. And this is what you're seeing, is that gambling companies or questionable gambling companies will attach themselves to legitimate business entities and legitimate personalities, and in this instance Man City and Teddy Sheringham. So that was a deal done. Where were the red flags? What should they have looked out for? Well, essentially the website has disappeared. You can see down here this is a screenshot of the website, which is now disappeared, and they've started removing all the digital footprints of it. But long before this, and bearing in mind this has been going on for like 2 years, this partnership, you can see here that the legitimacy of 8xBet is somewhat questionable. Now, it first starts with the press release, which Man City did in 2022. You look back on it and they was there saying that the company was founded in 2018, when in fact the company wasn't registered until 2021, and the domain of 8xBet wasn't registered until 2020. So already there's inconsistencies there that you would imagine that the legal team would have picked up on, or the commercial team would have picked up on, to look at the suitability of this company aligning themselves with Manchester City, but clearly not. And then it reveals that the founder, Ryan Lee, and CEO Tring Tru Trang were virtually invisible figures. They were using stock photography for their LinkedIn profiles, really limited information on their LinkedIn. And that should have been another red flag that was clearly ignored. Now, I'm not hating on Man City doing this, because at a similar time, a similar scenario was playing out with Leicester City. And I think theirs was with Yang Sports. And theirs was even more in-depth, whereby they did videos, they did a press release and a press conference at the ground of Leicester City, and the betting company had hired actors to portray themselves as employees of the company. So I think it was, let me have a look at my screen here. Sorry, bear with me. Yeah, so it's the global business development of the Yang Sports, William Roberts. And it transpires that he was a paid actor that was hired through a casting agency. And let me just share the screen. Share this tab instead. Here we go. So you can see here, this is a very similar story of Leicester City in 22-23. And they used Emil Heskey as their ambassadors. And this guy here that you can see, he was a paid actor, went by the name of William Roberts. And this was another actor. And it also implicates Juventus because they did a similar deal with OB Sports, and lo and behold, William Robert was a global development director of them, a completely different guy, actor nonetheless. So this is a pattern of behavior through questionable gambling companies. Now, let's go back to the original article, as we can see here. Now, my main problem with all of this, and it may be a little bit harsh, is that the company, so 8xBet, did not hold a UK gambling commission, but this deal was facilitated by TGP Europe. And they have closed the website down. The license for 8xBet domain is showing as inactive on the UKGC website, which should mean the company is no longer allowed to sponsor British teams. But here is where the problem lies, because when you go onto the Gambling Commission website, you can see this company here. See, it's TGB Europe, based out of Isle of Man, and here are all the domains that they provide either white label status for, are inactive, and so they're doing BetVision. But here you can see a whole load of ones. So this was a deal with Nottingham Forest. This one here, you can see 8xBet is now inactive. And what will be really interesting, and this is where you look at other places as well. Sorry for jumping around a little bit, but Stake are a big company that are sponsoring Everton and other bits, and you got Dual Bits, who are massive in boxing. So there's a real concern around this company and their license agreement with the UK Gambling Commission. So essentially, going back to the article here, there has got to be some accountability by either the Gambling Commission, by the football clubs, by the Premier League, by a whole host of bodies that are allowing this type of activity to take place. Because essentially, at the end of the day, I think it's around about £4 billion worth of British taxpayers' money is being spent on black market gambling operations. And it's exactly these sort of companies that are using established brands within the British economy to gain access to the customers that do this. And this is being facilitated by companies like Man City in this instance, and Leicester City in their instance, of providing it. Now, what we never get in these instances is how much money is being paid to the clubs, what's happened to that money, and whether it's retrievable via the Gambling Commission. You'd also like to think that the Gambling Commission need to start tracing down on companies that are offering these facilities and giving these companies access to the UK market. So somebody like TGP. Is the Gambling Commission doing something about this? You'd hope so. But then when you're seeing that these sort of deals are currently always in play, you've got to question what is happening. So it's a really worrying development. I got a feeling it's not going to be the first or the last time that we hear of a gambling company coming into UK sports. I know that, if it does get closed down into football, boxing, which is another sport that I follow, will open its arms to this sort of unregulated sponsorship activity. But it's something that really, really needs to be tackled quickly. So that endeth this news article. I hope you found it interesting. If you've got any comments or if you've got any opinions that you'd like to share, do not hesitate to drop a like in the comments and let me know what you think.